Hi, Jonathan. It's Mark.
Hi, good afternoon, Mark. How
Hi,
you doing?
Jonathan. Hi, I'm well. I'm finally got hold of you then.
Yep, busy man.
I know
But
you
we're
are.
here to do this podcast today and hopefully to give some information to the general public on the different aspects of the podiatric profession and also the integration of the usage of podiatric surgery as a way of correcting painful foot conditions.
Fantastic. I know. I was saying to you earlier, wasn't I? We're having a little conversation before we switched the record button on, and I was saying there's a lot of big words. I mean, there's a lot of big words in every industry, but
Sure.
it was only a couple of months ago I was started getting interested. I mean, we've known each other for well over a year now,
Yeah.
and you've got your own foot hospital down in Leeds in the UK.
Hmm.
But the reason why I got very interested was I looked online, and there's a lot of people out there looking for information about various foot conditions, whether it's bunions or heel injuries, especially athletes and people like that. And they want to know, they want answers to questions. And I wondered if there's like a lot of misinformation out there, and I thought I'd put two and two together. I thought I'd give you a quick phone call and contact you, and that's what started me along the lines of creating the Foot Hut. And hopefully, with you on board, we can get some great information, record it, and then make it available to people, publicly via iTunes, and they can get the right information from a qualified source, and that allows them to make better decisions moving forward. So that's the idea behind it. Makes sense, yeah?
Sure, absolutely.
I mean, you're obviously au fait with the internet, and you've done a lot of surfing around, I'm sure, because I know that you advertise online, etc. What this isn't is a big pitch fest. All this is for is just to educate people so they can make great decisions moving forward. Because I know the one thing about feet is everybody has them, hopefully, but they do get hammered. They get such a lot of hammer, and I think we take them for granted, don't you think?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, feet are often most neglected part of our bodies. A lot of research has actually shown that people have their cars serviced more often than they actually have their feet checked by a podiatrist. Obviously, feet are our main mode of transport, carrying us on a journey, which can be anywhere up to 3 times around the world. So, yeah, they're just stuck, unfortunately, in our shoes and only tend to surface when we actually have a problem.
Sure, and well, I think the first thing we'll do is we'll set the scene a little bit. Obviously, I'm a layman, so I'm speaking on behalf of the silent majority that are looking for information. So,
Sure.
without using sort of large words that I'm not going to understand, first thing I'd like to do is really just tell people who are listening in, who you are, a little bit about your background, so that we know that we're talking to somebody who knows their stuff.
Sure.
Go ahead.
Basically, I qualified from University of Cardiff in about 21 years ago. I am currently purely a private practitioner in the Leeds area.
Hmm.
My main area of speciality is in a subject called biomechanics, which, as far as the profession is concerned, looks at the management of biomechanical foot problems and their effects on different parts of the body. For example, patients coming in with low back pain, hip, knee problems, etc., can often be found, or the primary underlying structural cause of the problem can actually be found within the foot and ankle.
It's amazing, Jonathan. Once I started my research in this field, even headaches can be attributed to foot problems.
Correct. I mean, what people need to understand is that the foot and ankle, or the ankle joint, is the last major weight-bearing joint in the skeleton before it hits the ground. So any variances in terrain, camber, or even the different types of surfaces that we walk on are going to affect the overall postural imbalance within the skeleton as a whole. And if we look back at Homo sapien, um, millions of years ago, the sorts of terrain that Homo sapien was actually walking on was sort of undulating terrain, and the foot and ankle and its associated structures had to accommodate to different types of terrain patterns. And certainly, as the millions of years have passed, the problem and reasons why patients are getting a lot of postural problems within the back, foot and ankle, etc., as you mentioned, headaches are all interrelated to the types of terrain we walk on, and also types of flooring that we stand on. So the harder the floor, the more work the body will have to do in trying to compensate for the hard flatness of the floors, which then have a postural effect on major joints, which obviously creates a lot of difficulty. And really, that's the role of the modern day podiatrist in trying to figure out what compensatory mechanisms have gone on within the foot and ankle and how they interrelate to other areas of the body.
Wow. So you're a podiatrist. Is that how, or how does it work? What's it called? Your title?
My title is podiatrist.
Right.
The word podiatrist, certainly in the UK, is a fairly new term. The original term was the word chiropodist, and what's happened over the last few years is we've tried to get away from this cut and come again society within the profession, where most chiropodists were sort of thought of as white-haired old men and gentlemen.
Are you saying you're not white-haired?
Yeah, yeah. Well, as I say, to be honest, the profession has been brought into the 21st century over the last few years by a lot of research development in the areas of medicine and surgery, and podiatry is just a branch of mainstream medicine that specialises in lower limb mechanical problems. People tend to think that podiatrists just treat the foot and ankle. Well, we don't, because at the end of the day, there are other major structures attached to the foot, and of course, foot function and the way we walk is also indicated by, as we've already mentioned before, mechanical problems and affectations, pathologies within the hip and the spine. Yeah. So the modern day podiatrist really shouldn't just look at the structures and problems associated with the foot and ankle, but they have to look further up.
Well, I'll tell you what, I don't know about you, Jonathan, but right now the whole of me is connected to my foot. I am connected definitely to my foot.
You're well connected.
I'm well connected. I was going to say, so as far as, like I said, I started my research and I've noticed that there are so many people that it's actually completely amazed me how many people have foot and joint related issues. You know, it seems to be have you found that it's a growing thing? There's more and more people suffering from these kind of injuries. Is it the way they live? Is it the fact we've concreted all the roads? I mean, what is it that causes so many people to have, foot and ankle joint related issues?
I think people generally have a lot more spare time. More people are taking up sport. And a lot of the injuries that I see, I mainly specialise in sports medicine, both in adults and children. I found that those patients that are coming into my practice, maybe who have taken up certain sporting activities like running or football, etc., perhaps prior to actually taking up those sporting activities, if they had been checked out by some member of a musculoskeletal team, for example, a podiatrist or a physio or a chiropractor, and had a really good check of all major joints, quite a lot of acute injuries could actually be avoided.
So you're saying that to give some good value to the listeners, if you could give them some really good advice right now, is that what you're saying, that before they start any kind of sport or new activity, maybe if they're in their second lease of life, 30s, 40s, 50s maybe, they want to take up a running program or join a running club, you're saying that they should definitely get a checkout before they start doing that kind of activity?
Absolutely. And this is why in my practice I'm seeing a lot more people in that 25 to 40 year group coming in with problems. At the end of the day, you go out looking to buy or purchase a car, you'll spend a lot of time looking at different makes and models, looking at technical information before you make your final choice. You don't want to end up with a car that perhaps may be prone to a particular engineering fault. Likewise with the human body, we are, after all, a very intricate piece of engineering, albeit soft tissue, that can be easily damaged and injured. So it would make perfect sense to go along to many clinics around the country. Most of them offer free consultations. In my particular clinic, we offer a specialised musculoskeletal assessment clinic where there are people like myself concentrating on the foot and ankle. There are specialist physiotherapists and chiropractors who will look at patients walking perhaps on a treadmill, do some analysis, and find out basically if there are any potential underlying problems in any major joints that could potentially precipitate an injury. Certainly with runners, one of the most important aspects prior to running is to make sure that you choose yourself a good pair of running shoes. The best way to do that is to have your gait checked. If there are any underlying medical problems in the foot and ankle, then certain types of footwear can provide more accommodative, shock absorbing qualities to help reduce the likelihood of any injury.
Yeah, it makes sense. I know people, generally speaking, are, they impulsive. I know when I was a kid, I used to go to the gym and I used to overdo it straight away, and that would put me off for the next 3 weeks because I couldn't move the next day.
Sure.
But sure, with an injury, as I've got older, you can't shrug off these injuries quite so quickly. Especially when it's your feet, it's something that's, such fundamental to getting about, work, all the other things that come with it.
Sure, no, you're quite right, Mark. One of my other areas of speciality is in paediatrics, specialising in the treatment of children. Now, the thing is that young children's feet are still forming, are quite fragile, and obviously can be easily damaged by footwear. Early examination of children's feet as a preventative measure is extremely important. A lot of the kids that I see who have taken up sport at whatever particular level tend to come in with overuse types of problems where they're complaining of heel pain, problems within and around the shin, knee pain. They may well have taken to a visit to the GP. Mum and dad have been advised that little Johnny's heel pain, for example, is due to the fact that he's growing. Well, growing doesn't hurt. And a lot of the problems that I see in young children whose growth rates can alter between certain age restrictions and also within particular, whether it's a boy or a girl, we can find that some of these growth plates, which exist in both ends of the bones, can actually be damaged by too much sport over too short a period of time. And it's the irritation of these growth plates that lead to their pain, and often excessive weight bearing on the growth plates are normally caused by mechanical dysfunctional problems that can lead to irritation and hence pain. So it's really looking at the underlying primary mechanics of the foot and ankle and the associated structures. And again, children, those kids that are about to embark on maybe a football program during, say, the summer vacation, the people that are looking after them should and hopefully have sufficient knowledge to be able to triage these patients, these children, and windle out those kids that perhaps may not be able to run in a straight line. You can see their knees may be a little bit bent on running, and engage the help and use of a local musculoskeletal practitioner.
I think we'll probably end up doing a show all about children because I think that's a really major point. I know when you're young, my feet were crammed in the wrong size shoes for many years, and as such, my feet they don't look pretty. Fortunately, I don't think there was any sort of major damage done, but certainly when you're young, that's the bones, I suppose, are still forming, etc. So we'll probably make a whole show about that. I mean, I'm assuming that the majority of people who are probably listening, if they've got an issue, where's the first place they should look for information? What's the first sort of step they should take? Recommended.
Well, as far as my profession is concerned, and when seeking advice from a UK podiatrist, probably the best way is to go onto the internet
Hmm.
and to go on to a website called the Health Professions Council. That that particular council register will have lists of all suitably qualified podiatric practitioners, and they will be able to pop in a postcode and be able to seek and find help from someone that's local to them, but having the confidence that that person is properly qualified.
Okay, well, I'll pop a link to that in the show notes.
Great.
Are there any other resources that you can think of that would help people? I think what I'm saying here is that, I think the majority of people who are going to listen to this have probably already got an issue of some description, or perhaps they're, researching a condition that their kids got, and they're just trying to find out more. So apart from, can you name that resource again, quickly?
Yes, it's the Health Professions Council, or alternatively, they can go to a website called Feet for Life. Feet for Life is a registered website that's dedicated to practitioners who have attained Bachelor of Science degree at one of the recognised universities around the country.
Right.
And the governing body is the Society of Chiropodists and Podiatrists based in London, and their website is Feet for Life. So again, they can pop on the public sector section and get some extremely good information from there.
All right, cool. I'll make sure I put both those resources in the notes. Outside of that, I've obviously, when I've been delving into forums and different places online, I've noticed a lot of people, they don't know or understand the language, and there is like in every sort of profession, there's professional language that's used, but for most people, especially myself included, they don't understand those professional languages. So when they're describing symptoms, I've noticed people will say, I've got lumps and bumps, I've got hard bumps on my feet. They don't know how to describe it in professional terms. Do you find that people have already done a certain amount of homework before they come to you, or do they just sort of turn up and say, well, I've got this foot and it hurts when I do this?
Both, to be honest. But certainly with access to the internet, which most people have, they would have done some form of research. And unfortunately, in some cases, too much research, where people are coming in with copious, copies, notes that they've made from different websites. And to be honest, it's probably the wrong thing to do. I think that if you have a problem, a foot-related problem, be it a lump or a bump, the best thing to do is to seek advice from a suitably qualified practitioner, come along with no misconceptions of what you think you may have, and take the advice from a suitably qualified person. Certainly, I always encourage patients, once they've actually come to my practice and I've actually been able to examine them and successfully diagnose what their problem is. Patients often say to me, could you write the name of that particular condition down, which of course I will, and they can then go ahead and then do some research around the subject.
It makes sense. That makes total sense, doesn't it? I know it's like you said, too much information is definitely overwhelming. People just get overwhelmed, don't they, with too much information?
They do, and the problem that I've found of late is that certainly the vast majority of patients that we see will become very challenging to us as a medical practice, because a lot of patients that we see tend to have been elsewhere, have been given one particular diagnosis following a consultation, which unfortunately may have not resolved their problem, their condition. And quite often we may well be the second or even third practitioner that we're seeing. And really it's trying to boost their confidence, take things nice and slowly, and take time with the patient and help and describe in the layest of terms that they can actually understand. Probably one of the best examples I can give is more pertaining to the running world. When patients come in to see me, they've seen a practitioner and been told that they are a pronator. The word pronation is often misdiagnosed and misused in different circumstances, and not always the correct one. People coming to practice thinking that they've got some sort of disease. Well, for those patients out there that may have been actually told that they pronate or hyperpronate or something of that ilk, everybody requires this particular medical terminology which describes a triplanar movement around certain joints within the foot and ankle. You need this particular movement to occur for normal human ambulation. The problem comes when patients have an excessive range of this particular movement, and that actually contributes to around about 90 to 95% of all mechanically related foot problems that we actually see, certainly in the running world.
Wow, I'll put a link to that. I'll definitely put a link to that in the notes.
Good.
So they've done the homework. The next step is for them to pop in to see a professional.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the sticky situation that I think most people are probably thinking. They're going to think, well, is there any help out there, or is this going to come straight out of my pocket?
Well, as far as the profession is concerned, there's two ways in which patients can actually access a podiatrist. Certainly in the UK, patients can go along to the GP and be referred on the National Health Service to a practitioner, or they can, if they have private health insurance that actually covers the cost of consultation and or treatment, they can see a practitioner like myself.
Okay. So they can be referred, or they can just look you up?
Yeah, if they want to see a private practitioner, they can go on, have a little look at the Health Profession Council's website, pop in the postcode and see someone that they know will be properly qualified and registered, and they can go ahead and discuss their problem and hopefully get on the road to recovery.
Oh, well, that's brilliant. I know you've also had a bit of a special offer. I know you're offering to do some Skype consults at some later point. We'll make those available on the site as soon as you've decided when they're free. I can't believe you're going to offer that. So how's that going to work?
Well, basically, those people who may be experiencing difficulty in actually seeing a practitioner, there may be a long National Health Service wait, which there generally is. They can't perhaps get the right information from their GP. They may have already seen some allied healthcare practitioner who has recommended they see a podiatrist. Well, to try and expedite the whole situation for patients where they can get good online help and advice, I'm quite prepared to speak to people over Skype. They can tell me their symptoms and hopefully put them in the right direction of care.
That's brilliant. Well, we'll make that available on the site over at foothut.co.uk. Can we? I'm thinking as a clinician, would a picture help you to make any kind of decision?
Absolutely.
So if I made it available on the site where people could actually upload a picture, maybe before they would get access to that Skype consultation, they can upload a photograph, which at least gives you some idea of what you're looking at.
Yeah, that would be absolutely perfect. I mean, I actually do that with current internet inquiries already.
Okay.
People have to realise that podiatrists are medically qualified professionals, in that we cover all aspects and medical and surgical specialities relating to the lower limb. Right. So, for example, we get a lot of patients that contact us who may say they have a particular rash on their foot, etc. Unfortunately, we can't give good clinical advice without seeing some form of pictorial imagery.
Sure.
So we encourage patients to perhaps send a photograph or attach a photograph to an email, which of course then gives us direct access in a visible way to try to help identify what their particular dermatological problem is. A lot of patients with problems with bunions and hammer toes, painful bony deformities, often wanting advice. Then again, a picture tells 1,000 words, so always attach a picture if you can. obviously it gives us a much better indication as to what the severity of your problem is, and of course helping giving you good positive advice.
All right, brilliant. And you're based down in or up in Yorkshire, in
Yeah,
Leeds.
absolutely. I work in a number of practices within the Leeds area. Our central practice is called the Yorkshire Foot Hospital,
Mm-hmm.
based at the Lawrence Clinic, which is in Pudsey in Leeds.
Yeah.
That particular centre is our main core centre in the area of foot and ankle surgery.
And you do all kinds of surgery down there, do you?
Yes, we do. As far as surgery, as far as the podiatry profession is concerned, that site is used mainly for foot and ankle surgery for those patients who may have exhausted all conservative, non-surgical treatment, still have a problem. We're able to offer an alternative should a surgical option be the correct one. Patients can come down and consult with a range of surgical specialists there,
Mm-hmm.
who specialise in all areas of foot and ankle surgery.
Brilliant. I think that we'll wrap that up. I think what I'm really looking forward to doing is, obviously this has been an introduction, and I really thank you for your time, Jonathan. I'm really hoping that we can put together, these little series of podcasts over the next 6 months or maybe even longer, just giving people access to this information, so they can get informed, before they maybe make that consultation appointment, maybe before they upload that photograph to yourself. So I think that's important for people to do. And is there any particular, just before we shoot off, is there anything that you're more enthusiastic about talking about than anything else? I think what I'm saying there is, I know your speciality is in is it in soft tissue injuries, or what is it? Where is your sort of passion lie? What on earth got you involved in this game in the first place?
Well, that's a bit of a long story, actually. So
is it?
Yeah. Well, I think we'll wait until we know each other a little bit better before we go into that.
All right.
Yeah, but at this stage in the proceedings, my main area of speciality is in sports medicine and in pediatrics, in children's foot and ankle pathologies, and also I have quite an avid interest in podiatric surgery and its development and usage within the profession and in the UK.
Fantastic. Well, thank you very much again for your time, and I encourage people to take advantage of that offer that you've made for that consultation time using Skype and upload a photograph. So the next time we speak, maybe we'll be speaking to one of your other consultants or surgeons, and we'll probably be talking about bunions. I think that's on the agenda for the next podcast.
It is, and I look forward to that. Thank you.
Thanks very much for your time, Jonathan. Take care.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye now.